If you want joy, really joy, wonderful joy, praise Jesus, step into your heart, Okay, so chaos in South Africa. Trust me, this video, I'm not about to give you another lecture of looting and all that. I just want to make an observation. Sorry guys, I'm not gonna welcome people and all those things. But welcome back. So there's looting. There's no army on the streets of Johannesburg, KZN, South Africa actually, and there's few police out there. When you contrast that with the level 5 lockdown, I know we all made those kind of observations that there was a lot of army presence. I think the president authorized over 60 or if not 70,000 army personnel on the streets of South Africa because of level 5, right? And that was trying to curb the scourge of the pandemic. But now there's burning fire on the streets, on top of the buildings, on top of malls, lorries, trucks, buses, cars are being burnt, businesses are being burnt. So I'm not gonna complain about all those things, right? We all know what happened. But there's less army personnel on the streets. Who is fooling who, guys? That's the question. That's the observation I'm making, that who's fooling who here? Is this done deliberately? Like, is there an external force, like a third hand? We've seen it happen in Africa. I mean, case in point will be Zimbabwe, Mozambique, where people were used to burn their own properties in the name of whatever politician, in the name of whatever party, People burned farms, they burned malls, factories where parents were working, and then people lost their jobs. The same thing is happening here in South Africa. People are burning shopping malls. They're vandalizing banks. Everything that, even the blood service department was vandalized. ATMs, we all know about the story of ATMs. But everything is being destroyed, and then people are not paying attention to the repercussion of that. I'm not going to give you a lecture. I just want to make an observation that doing these things, yes, we can do it in the name of people. Yes, fine. We are struggle. We're struggle conscious people. Then we want justice for all and all those things. But at the end of the day, we are going to suffer, because the people that we are now fighting for, so-called fighting for, won't be there. Some of them will be dead whenever shit hit the fan, because we all know there'll be shortage of fuel, no money at the ATM, no food at the shops, no work for our parents, because most of our parents work in factories and farms. We all know what's happening with employment in South Africa. And if this thing is being allowed, like at the rate it is allowed, it's going to be chaotic. And I don't think South Africans are ready. When I say they are ready, I mean we are not ready to be running to Zimbabwe. Well, we can't run to Zimbabwe because Zimbabweans are asylum seekers in South Africa. There are refugees here in South Africa. But now we would be refugees in other countries, South Africans are not ready for that. I don't think South Africans are well equipped to be crossing borders and running away and looking to buy milk, because Zimbabweans leave Bulawayo to come to Beitbridge to buy milk. Are South Africans ready to do that if this whole thing continues? Because now, because of the vacuum that the police have left and the army have left, people are now left with no opportunity, with no choice, but to protect themselves, sometimes using guns rifles, big rifles, AK-47. We've seen them being brandished on the streets. I'm not going to mention the tribe, but we've seen some tribes targeting other tribes using guns in South Africa recently. And is that not the start of militias, that will usually result in civil war? I'm not saying there's going to be civil war, but potentially it's there. There's something that can happen there. Something is brewing underneath. Because now people have access to army equipment like guns and all those things, and they're protecting themselves. What are they going to do with those equipment once everything has subsided? When all the dust has settled? What are they going to do with the guns? Because they have guns. We've now seen that everybody has guns in South Africa. Not everybody, of course, but most people have guns, and some of these guns are at the hands of bad criminals and people with bad intentions. And if we are allowing politicians and these people to use us to destroy our country, tomorrow it will be us who's going to suffer. Because as much as there's no employment right now, it is better off. It is better. Because we're going to loot all the shops today. And then the food is going to last us for maybe a week or two. After that, what's going to happen? It's scary when you think about it. It's so scary. I'm not ready to be crossing the border, and running for my life. I'm not ready. So South Africans I'm not sure if we are ready to be refugees in other countries. I'm not sure if we're ready, because at the rate it's going right now, potentially there's huge potential that is going to be something. We're gonna have shortage of something already. I saw people panic buying fuel in the KZN area. Already there's been reports of shortage of cash, like money at ATMs. Well, most of them have been vandalized. I had one of the banks quoting that over 50,000 of their branches have been vandalized. Supermarkets have, those were the West. I don't think there's a supermarket that hasn't been touched. So it's scary when you think about it. So I'm not here to give you guys a lecture how bad looting is, because we all have different reasons to loot. I know I need a flat screen, a screenshot. No, not a flat screen. But I feel like I need to buy it. I shouldn't be going out there and trying to get it for free. Actually, what is the aftermath of this looting? The aftermath of the looting, scary, because I've seen children looting and then they were just let go by police officials, by the community leaders, because they are children, they must go home. Run before they see you, and the kids run with their plastics. What culture, what are we planting in those children, in those kids, that tomorrow when they don't have anything, it means they must resort to looting? And who will be to blame? Because obviously now the kids that participated in the looting will definitely loot again. I don't think especially those who were let go. I'm not saying that kids should have been arrested, but kids that participated in the looting will loot again, definitely, because there will be shortage of food. Obviously, people are hungry. People don't have employment. People will loot again. And then, is that the culture that we are going to have in South Africa? And it's quite scary. It's quite scary. So I just wanted to make those observations. Not much. And also it was very interesting to observe the way media was reporting this issue. I did not see a white person looting in the cameras of most news outlets. I'm not saying they didn't. I'm saying I did not see them. You can't tell me that no single white person went to loot. You can't tell me that. So where is the bias? Bias in media reporting with regard to the way the looting story was covered is the fact that the race that was always shown looting and stealing and running away and vandalizing, it was always the black race. And you can't tell me you watching me right now, that there was no white person or an Indian who looted. That all Indians are squeaky clean, all colored people are squeaky clean, and all white people are squeaky clean. They never looted. No. But then the media always showed the black person looting. And another observation is the fact that it was so unfortunate that this whole looting scene exposed women and children more than it did male. Well, their counterpart, of course, because most men could run or hide when police came, or do something to evade being arrested. But then women were left there, with plastics, walking very slow, trying to run. Most of them are quite gifted, so they couldn't run. So most women were caught red-handed, looting, stealing, vandalizing. So if ever there will be charges, I am scared. I fear that there will be a lot of women who will be prosecuted than men, which is quite interesting. I saw the stats saying that over 600 people arrested in the KZN area. I'm not sure about other areas, but how many men or male were arrested as compared to women? If you look at the stats, you will see that most women were caught there and they couldn't run. They just walk very slow. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm having a bit of a flu. So those are the issues that I saw, that as much as usually the people that were mostly out there to vandalize or without any good intention. I'm not saying that looting has any good intention, because looting is bad at all. It's always bad. To steal is bad. But no one has good intentions to loot. But then some people went there with looking for better things like Pampers, milk for children. I'm talking about women here. So they were there looking for things that is going to help the family, because I saw a man with the dildo. What is he gonna do with a dildo? Why is he looting a dildo? Someone looting an ironing board. Are those things really the basic needs? If we talk about basic needs, most women looted basic needs like food, to help the family or to assist at home and all those things, where you realize that indeed there is poverty. But then most of them were caught, which is quite interesting that they were the one who suffered the most in terms of being arrested. I'm not sure if the state will speak to that, but then I saw them meeting police and army personnel, clearly showing that, what, I looted, so what, are you gonna arrest me? Or so yeah, it's quite interesting that there was that bias. And also another thing is the fact that I wanted to talk about the other thing, but anyway, it's fine. Maybe I'll do another video, because this video will be too long and I didn't want it to be that long. So I don't know what you think about the bias of the media in terms of showing white people also that looted, because there are white people that looted, and also Indian people that looted, and also colored people that looted. There were a lot of black people that looted, lots of them, but the media never showed any white person or any other race. So now this looting thing becomes a race debacle. It's now becoming a race debacle, who looted the most, black people or not, and then the looting will now expose the whole issue of class, people that were looting or those who were not looting, mostly who were not looting, not all of them, of course, because I've seen people with cars whom when you look at it, you're like, okay, is this person really hungry, or is he poor? Does he really need food, or is just because he needs a 17-inch television or 32-inch or 72-inch television? I saw a man trying to push a huge television into his car. Clearly that person, if he can afford a car, it means you're not poor, and it means Probably you are unemployed, but you are not poor, you know, that you really have to go and loot a TV. If indeed people were really looting for real reason or real reasons, it will be food or something that is like basic needs. But then if you go and loot it, blood service equipment, computers, then for me that's violence. So it will be interesting to see how the court is going to deal with all these cases, you know. Are they going to be these people who were arrested, are they going to be pardoned, or is the law going to take its course? And based on what you looted, do police know what people looted, who looted what, so that you can judge? Or are they gonna say, oh, because you looted a toothbrush, you are also part of the of the crime, you participated in the vandalism? If ever someone burned whatever there, it means you also part of it by virtue of association. Then it means you also participated in the burning. So the whole arson cases will be opened, all those things. It's going to be interesting if everybody's going to be prosecuted equally. And also interesting that knowing that South Africa is the country of pardoning, I suspect that many people will be pardoned, but there is fear that if this whole thing is not quelled on time, we could be facing not really civil war, but some more violence in South Africa, and it's scary. But anyway, I hope there will be no violence, because I don't want violence. I don't want to be running around. I don't even know where is Botswana right now. I mean, which nearest country are we gonna run to, guys? Okay. Well, I have friends in Namibia and Zambia, so probably I need to prepare my Zambian route in case we become like Zimbabwe, you know, Zimbabwe, depending on where you're from. Yeah, I have lots of friends in Zimbabwe, you know. Zirise, Shamwari. I have lots of friends there, so those are my friends. Actually, I love Zimbabwe. So I hope nobody from Zimbabwe got offended by my video, and I hope nobody out there got offended by my video. If you did, it was not my intention. I was trying to make an observation based on what I've seen, and I was not trying to give a lecture or say, oh, looting is bad, looting, I'm good, I don't loot, look at me. No, I'm not squeaky clean. You never know what I've been through. Well, I've been to the malls, but not recently. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining me. I really love you. If you want joy, really joy, wonderful joy, praise Jesus deep into your heart. Salute. Mengatiti mad.